G'day, this is a video analysis for the monthly, weekly, and daily time frame breakdown of Bitcoin, but this is using Bitcoin Liquid Index, which is delayed by 1 day. So if you wanted to reference the up-to-date live market, I'll stick a link in for the daily chart below, but this is 1 day delay. So it does, however, change my moving average of things, and the technical indicator as well is also in play, and that changes also. So just a bit of a note there and to be aware. But this is the monthly cycle looking now into 2024 onwards. And as you can see, it's been a pretty hectic sell year last year, over the last 2 years, with price falling down to 16 grand. And then finding its feet again on the curve, but not quite touching the curve as to where I thought it would completely fall to, which was here within the zone, around the 10k mark to 12k. It did create a new rally and building back up to the high curve. It's heavily sold off at. Price has nestled within the wicks here of 2017 and used that as its kind of support or fresh demand zone. Now there's a steep curve, but it's elongating and tailing into the future, which means that price is consolidating in within ranges before it hits this fresh supply, and uses this as a probable, if not possible, fresh supply at the start, which will tail off, retest, and create higher lows and higher highs subject to that over the coming years, with the capital input into the market. And that being said, along with all the ETFs which have taken place and come to market, it's still obviously better to buy the physical, but for those who have access to Fidelity and all the other ETFs out there at the moment, it's definitely a good start. So with the physical and the non-physical wrapper, it is important to have an insight of where the market is taking us. Now we have a pivotal moment here where price is testing the fresh supply, and it's a consolidative area, which means it's going to reject, of course, back down to a suitable level, which seems to align here within the market. And I'll just stick a horizontal in to see where that will be. So ideally it would lay flat here. If I just make this black line, actually no, maybe not, let's make it a nice green line because it's a bit different. It's going to support itself around here, right? So roughly at 32, maybe a little bit lower, we don't know yet, but this is your fresh zone from the monthly. The price is going to take off from a fresh perspective, subject to breaking this green zone. However, if price nestles here, you're looking at a good probable point where price is going to walk its way up to a fresh supply. Now, with that being said, let's just keep this on the monthly only. Let's go down to the weekly and see this curve again. Price and the market has been very generous in where I thought the setup would go, which is very good. It didn't quite hit this fresh demand either, so off that. It did, however, form this basis which aligns to stop structure again. So support and resistance here, albeit not a method which a lot of us in the industry I work in provides, on the grand scheme of things. But for those traders who do use support resistance, great, it's perfect for you. So yeah, this is looking good in terms of where price is going next. It has hit the fresh supply on the weekly, which is a stumble point, and we can see where price is going to take us next. So Bitcoin was at a fair value here. It's now gone up to a fresh supply stumbling block here. As I've mentioned previously, it's going to reject and it's going to build a formation point towards a mid zone. Price action here At the present time, though, it's quite high on the curve. So this curve is broken on the weekly, and price will tail off towards this point here, which tees up nicely to this point here, right? So around 33 to around 37. It's quite a big zone, of course, with $4,000 within that range, but that is a very pivotal point where the price can take us next. I'll just chuck that there to show where. Yeah, expect price to fall off this fresh supply, and or subject to confirmation on the weekly closes. If this consolidative area forms, it can also melt upwards in towards 50 grand again, maybe higher, before testing this stumbling block and going back to the fresh supply again. So do keep in mind that on the shorter time frame. So let's go down to the daily to see it a bit closer into what's actually happening. So the halving is coming up, which is good news and or bad, depending on uh, how you view that. But the main thing is that halving is occurring within at some point within this year, supposedly within 3rd of March to the 1st of April. So who knows? Which is going to be a good opportunity. So it's getting closer. So on the daily, we've seen a very good area here of price action occurring, and we're getting a lot of traffic here in terms of the steep curve from here all the way through. It's looking very good and nice and tight. However, it's gonna fail to melt down into this area. It seems to be holding here at present between 40 and 41, 42. But the daily is obviously yet set to change. So you've got to look left here, and looking left, there's a lot of price action happening within this area between 45 and 35. So do keep that in mind, and that ties nicely with where I've said in the past on the weekly. So that's looking good. If price looks for fresh demand, it will look at this area subject to break of this. Price will tail off pretty nicely into a break, retest, or just melt down into this area. Test to break again and free fall towards the monthly. However, it probably won't do that in high probability due to the curve. If it does, it's a great opportunity for those if it falls within this period as well. But that's remaining to be seen depending on how this next month takes place. The price will look to head up again, heading up north into this fresh supply, and then we'll see a counteractive area move taking place. So that is a probability. What I'd like to do now is go on to the weekly or monthly. Let's just chuck it back to this. And then what we do is we stick on the indicator and see where the regression is happening. But we stick it down to the weekly because that's the most important part. And that's where our fair value is calculated from. So as you can see, price has been undervalued and our price is above fair value. And the regression band is showing a very nice area of where fair value of the market is looking towards, which is great. So with that calc being taking place across the entirety of the moving average from the start point to now, fair value is considered roughly at this point in time at 37.1, so we're above. Coming up to the halving, we could see that halving at a fair value of 39. So the weekly shows that this probable area, plausible area, is here. Anything above this white line is overvalued or heading towards overvalued, but the thresholds are here within the overvalued ranges. So looking great. So hope that really helps you on this quick overview, 10-minute overview. And yeah, I'll chuck the link in from the previous analysis last year. The data metrics haven't changed at all in terms of how things are calculated. The calculation just is ongoing. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Hooroo, have a good one.